What's good? What's good? What's good, people? Back with another episode of Gen Sports Corner. And listen, man, yesterday, big fight, Times Square, New York City. Boxing was on fire yesterday, and we've been having a lot of big fights. Recently, we had the three-fight card last night. You had Devin Haney, you had Teofimo Lopez, and then you had Ryan Garcia versus Rolando Romero. And the big upset last night was Rolly Romero knocking off Ryan Garcia in the middle of Times Square. And now the whole rematch between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, what happens with that? Because leading into this fight, everybody was talking about Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, the rematch. Devin Haney was at the press conference talking about his opponent. Hey, I need to fight him, and then after that, I'm coming after King Ryan to get my revenge. And people kept asking Ryan Garcia about the fight, and he was like, yeah, after I fight Rolly and I win, then I'm going to fight Haney. Now, I'm not saying that Ryan Garcia was overlooking Rolly Romero. However, they kept asking that question as if Rolly Romero was not going to get into the ring and fight this man on Friday night, yesterday. And Rolly Romero, when he asked him the question, hey, what do you think about Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia? He was like, look, I don't care about that. After I knock Ryan out, he can go ahead and fight Devin Haney. Have a blast. But I'm here to win. I'm not worried about all that noise. And he seemed very focused, very to the point, and he wasn't worried about all the noise and the pomp and circumstance. And I'm not saying that he's never been serious, but for the first time in a very, very long time, it looked like he was locked in. Yeah, he had some moments where he was talking his stuff a little bit, but it always had an undertone of seriousness. Like, you could tell that he was very locked in and focused. And he said, yo, I'm going to knock him out. Now, did he knock him out? No. But he did knock him down in that second round. Go to the second round on the highlights, or go to the full fight if they put it out yet already, and check out that second round. And as soon as he landed his left hook, ironically, on Ryan Garcia, it seemed like Ryan was hesitant to open up for the rest of the fight. And though he was landing his jab consistently, he never really seemed like he was confident in opening up and letting that left hook go, because he knew what was coming back on that other end from Rolly. Rolly hits hard. His main drawback has been he keeps his chin too high, and his defense is lacking. Because he came into the fight game late. He was in martial arts before. It might have been judo he was in, but he came into boxing, quote-unquote, late compared to the rest of his peers like Ryan Garcia, who's been boxing since forever, or a guy like Tank Davis, who's been boxing since he was a little shorty. So, for him to come in there and be able to win despite all the detractors, props to him, man, and give that man his flowers while he deserves it. Now, is he the best fighter I've ever seen? No, but he was prepared for this fight, and at points in that fight, I was talking to my man Steve. He was saying that Derrick James was in the corner, asking him, "Yo, do you want to win? Because you're not winning right now. Like, I need to see that fire, that passion, that energy." And he couldn't get him back on gear because he felt that power, and maybe he just had his mind in another place. Maybe he was thinking about the fight with Devin Haney and what would come with all that. But if you show up to the fight, you pull up to the venue in a Batmobile. Mind you, the last fight he pulled up on a white horse. But if you pull up to a fight in a Batmobile and you're talking about who you're going to fight next, and you have all this glitz and glamour and circumstance around you, are you really focusing on a fight the way you should? I'm not saying you're not, but you have to make sure the main thing is the main thing. And it didn't seem like he had his head where it needed to be. And which brings us to the final point, which goes back to the win he had over Devin Haney. He looked noticeably smaller at the weigh-in, at the pre-fight build-up, at the pre-fight workout. Was it the Ostarine that had him jacked up last time when he was fighting Haney? And now that he's not on Ostarine, allegedly, is that why he looks smaller and why he didn't seem like his power was even phasing Rolly in the slightest? that is the age-old question, because he did not look like the same fighter last night. I'm gonna tell you that. I'm gonna tell you that much. He did not look like the same guy. He looked like he was a little bit tepid, and he had a little bit of trepidation. And when he opened up and landed his shots, it didn't seem like Rolly was phased like Devin Haney was. Is that because Devin Haney doesn't have a chin, or is that because Ryan Garcia was on some other things like Osterine, or was it a little bit of both? We will never know, but it certainly is not a good look that he came out and looked like a completely different fighter, both physically and with his demeanor and performance in the ring. So if you haven't seen it, go and check my video. Type in Ryan Garcia, Osterine in my channel, Gen Music 856, and my video should pop up. And I gave a breakdown explaining what Osterine is, what 19 norandrolone is, the other metabolite that he ended up being cleared of, and what benefits and disadvantages you get from taking some of these PEDs, particularly Osterine. So check that out, but it's certainly not a good look. But let me know what you guys think about that. I thought that Rolly Romero won that fight clearly. It was unanimous decision. It didn't seem like, outside of a couple rounds, I don't see where Ryan Garcia really did a whole lot to beat Rolly. He landed his jab when he wanted to, but he wasn't really hurting Rolly. Rolly was still walking forward and wanting all the smoke, and Ryan just didn't want that. So let me know what you guys think about that fight. The other fights, I just can't remember the guys' names off the top of my head, the opponents, but I did see the pre-fight workouts, and they were dogs, man. So the opponent that Teofimo Lopez beat, very, very good boxer. He's a firecracker, and Teofimo, man, he in his zone right now. He's in his zone right now, and he came out there, and he got it done, man. Cause mind you, his opponent, I saw some of his highlights. Confident, strong, good jab, really good fundamentals. If you're not on point, you're gonna lose one. So Teo was on point, and the hands are lightning quick. He seems like he's getting more advanced as a technician in there, and I really like what he's doing. I don't think I'd have to look at the 135-pound division. I think that's where he's at, to see who else is at the division right now. But I don't see anybody else beating him unless I look in the list and I can find somebody, because he looks like he's in his zone. The jabs are there. He has very, very short arms, but he's explosive, and he can throw shots without having to plant his feet, which is what makes him unique. And those shots come fast, and they have a good amount of steam on them, so you never know where these awkward punches are coming from, and what awkward angles they're going to come from, and what awkward stance he's going to be in and still be able to throw it and land it on you from. I think that's what makes him really unique and special. And he got that fire, that dog in him. He came in there, no nonsense, no games, and he had the best performance of the night from what I saw from the highlights. You know, I'm going to go back and look at the full fights, but it was clear that he had the best performance of the night. And then Devin Haney getting back in the ring. He looks solid. He doing what he usually do, but he was on that bicycle. He was on that bicycle, and I have to go back and look at the full fight, because some people are saying he was out there boxing and kind of took his foot off the gas, and even though he could have really poured it on his opponent. And then some people like Oscar, like Rolly in the press conference, he was like, man, I thought Devin Haney was running. Like, you know, when I was warming up for my fight, why would I watch that fight? Because I don't want to fall asleep. It's not good when I'm preparing for this fight with Ryan Garcia. So a lot of people were saying that Devin Haney was on his bicycle and just kind of pot-shotting, throwing a jab, you know, landing a few shots here and then getting on that bicycle. That's cool, but that's just, you know, you wonder how that's going to work for him if he gets the rematch moving forward with Ryan Garcia or Rolly Romero or any of these other guys at 147. Like, if he has to fight Boots, like, that ain't going to work against Boots. You know, unless Boots is going to move up to 154 and not mess with 147 no more. But, you know, he did what he needed to, but it's nothing that really inspired a whole lot of confidence from the highlights that I saw. Let me know what you guys thought of the performances for each one of those fighters. Devin Haney, then Teofimo Lopez, and then the main event with Rolly Romero getting the stunning upset over Ryan Garcia. Because, mind you, he was a a plus 700 underdog. Like, they did not think he had a shot in hell to beat Ryan Garcia. And not only did he beat him, it looked like he took the fight out of him early on. So that's what is most impressive about Rolly's win. And I just like the level of humility he had both before the fight and after the fight. Now, obviously, you know, you're going to talk your little slick stuff, you know, here and there. But overall, he's been very, very respectful. They were both respectful for the most part, but he was very, very respectful. So very happy for him and all the adversity he's had to overcome. Because, mind you, he lost to Tank, and then he had, I think, his last fight. It was a rough one for Rolly. It was a rough one, man. Dude was landing shots and made it. He gave him everything he could handle. So to come out and really have this performance, very proud of the young man, man. So, Rolly, if you're seeing this, phenomenal job. Very curious and interested to see what your next move is. That being said, you have the fight tonight between Canelo Alvarez and William Scull. And William Scull was originally supposed to be his mandatory at the super middleweight division for the IBF title. And when Canelo chose to fight, I believe, Berlanga instead of Scull, they stripped him of the IBF title at 168, and Scull beat another fellow in a contender elimination match to get that title. So now Canelo is circling back, and his first fight on a 4-fight deal, I believe, with Riyadh season via Turkey Al-Sheikh is against William Scull. And if I'm getting the name wrong, please forgive me. I just haven't really looked that close at this fight. But, you know, you have a guy that's 5'11", pretty lanky fighter. And I don't think he's going to beat Canelo, but I'm very interested to see what he looks like as a fighter. But this is the first fight of a 4-fight deal, and in September, he's set to match up with Terrence Crawford. So I want to see what Canelo looks like in this fight. It will be very interesting. But I'm more so looking forward to the fight tomorrow night with Naoya Inoue, his first time back in the States in about 4 years, I think. And he's fighting in Vegas tomorrow night on ESPN. Again, don't know the opponent off the top of my head, but I'm very, very interested to see this fight. And it's the first time I'll be able to look at it without having to wake up at like 7 in the morning because they're fighting in Japan. Inoue, I would say, is probably... I have Usyk #1 overall, pound for pound, but I would say I would have between Naoya Inoue and Terrence Crawford. That is such a tough choice for the #2 pound for pound spot. But I think I'm gonna go with Crawford. I think I'm gonna go with Crawford for the #2 spot because he's the win over Spence, the fight he had with Madrimov, and now going against Canelo, and his ability to be a switch hitter so he can fight as effectively from the orthodox stance as he can from the southpaw stance. He has a little bit extra in terms of dimensionality than Inoue, but Inoue's right there. He's right there. And honestly, if I wake up tomorrow, I could be swayed to change my mind, you know. But they're both high-level fighters, and I can't wait to see what Inoue is going to do. And seeing him get a chance for the American public to see who he is. Not him just being this mythical boxer from Japan. No, I want people to really see how dominant and how special this guy is. He's an all-time fighter, and he is, in my mind, a lock for the Hall of Fame already. And he's, what, 31, maybe? And he still has a lot more left in the tank, and I think the best is yet to come from him, which is what makes it exciting for me. So, be on the radar for that. Look up Naoya Inoue and see what this guy is about tomorrow night, ESPN, because I'm telling you, Inoue is a special fighter. Shout out to everybody that's watching the episode. Let me know what you think about the fight last night. What do you think about Ryan Garcia getting upset by Rolly Romero? And what do you think about Naoya Inoue coming to America? The monster from Japan has landed back on mainland soil in the USA once again. And I think he's going to make a statement tomorrow. And I don't think you're going to want to miss it. So let me know what you guys think about that. And I'll let you know what I think about the results tomorrow. Catch you on the next one. Peace.